Hi, this is Mary Hansen, and this presentation will show how to run an one-sample t-test using SPSS. The problem that will be used to illustrate the one-sample t-test in SPSS is a researcher wishes to test whether the mean IQ score of 18-year-old girls who have been in foster care for at least 5 years is different from 100. The following data show IQ scores of 31 randomly selected 18-year-old girls who satisfy this criteria. Does the researcher have evidence that the IQs of the 18-year-old girls who have been in foster care for at least 5 years is different from 100 at the 0.05 level of significance? In order to carry out this significance test, we do need to state the null and alternative hypothesis. In this case, we are investigating whether the mean IQ score of these population of girls is different from 100. The value in the alternative and null hypotheses will therefore be 100. This is a two-tailed test because the researcher is checking whether the IQ scores are different from 100. Finally, the researcher is carrying out this test at the 0.05 level of significance. In order to carry out a hypothesis test in SPSS, the raw data is needed. The raw data points are provided in this example. This SPSS file shows the IQ scores that have already been entered in. In the variable view screen of this file, the variable named IQ has been defined and labeled as IQ scores. Then, the 31 values that satisfy the data for IQ have been entered. In order to run a one-sample t-test on these data, we go to, first it is important to note that in SPSS you need the raw data scores. With only the summary values such as the sample mean and sample standard deviation, you cannot run this test in SPSS. That is, in SPSS, you do need to have the raw data entered into a column. Then, to analyze the data using the one-sample t-test, we'll go to Analyze, Compare Means, and then One-Sample t-test. That's Analyze, Compare Means, One-Sample t-test. Then we'll, as in many analyses in SPSS, want to put the variable that we are testing over on the right side under the test variable screen. We also have to put the test value in. The test value in this case is 100. Under the Options tab, I want to put as a 95% confidence interval. This corresponds to an alpha value of 0.05. Then when I click OK, I get an output file that is generated. The output file first contains the descriptive statistics for the one-sample variable. IQ scores, sample size 31, sample mean, sample standard deviation, and standard error are provided. The test value is also provided as 100. Then we get the t-test statistic, the degrees of freedom, which are n-1, and the p-value of the test, which is 0.03. Note that when you have SPSS output, you do not get the critical value to which you can compare the test statistic. You get the p-value, and you must compare the p-value to 0.05. In this case, the p-value of 0.03 is less than 0.05, so we will reject the null hypothesis, and we have evidence that the mean IQ score of these girls that have been in foster care for at least 5 years is different from 100. When we look at the sample mean, we can see that this evidence indicates that the mean is greater than 100. This example illustrated how to carry out a one-sample t-test in SPSS. This presentation is by Dr. Mary Hansen.